Welcome back to the kickoff. Today, we're going to catch up on the first weekend of the Premier League. Liverpool started strong with a 4-2 win, but it wasn't plain sailing the entire time. I've just got a question for the neutrals here, because I found this a little bit ridiculous, a little bit offensive. Is it right for me to feel annoyed that they've got Ornstein pre-match talking about Isak as if he's a Liverpool player already?
Again, I didn't know that they had done that.
He was pitch side. They suited and booted, talking all about how, Isak was promised that he was allowed to leave 2 weeks before the end of the season. Or he'd let them know, as if that means you just get to end your contract there. Oh, well, I've let you know. So,
wow.
And I found it amazing. And what he does right is he drops in a really small sentence. He goes, Newcastle deny all this, by the way. But back to what I was saying. And it's like, who's got more reason to lie here? Isak. Of course he has. So I just found that a bit weird that they spent that much time once again talking about Isak before a Liverpool game when they've not even bid anywhere near the money that we're asking for him yet. It just felt a bit silly. Obviously they did a lovely tribute to Jota, which I think was a really nice touch, and I think you could tell in the game, particularly Mo Salah and a couple of others, it's not going to go away overnight. This is going to take time for the club to deal with this. And I don't know, do you have any thoughts on how this could impact their season, lads? Because it's such a blow to them emotionally.
I don't think it will impact their season. I think it drives them on. I think it's one of those things where you're seeing everyone when they score, they do the 20 celebration, and it's like, I think there's a wind in the sails at Liverpool at the moment where they're using his inspiration, winning it for him more so than Cry. He's a generational player in Jota as well. Like, he'll score these important goals. So you can imagine at the deadlock or when it really means something, it's going to happen. And they're all doing it, all slapping the badge. So yeah, I feel like it will push them on.
Early on, there was moments of worry for Liverpool before a goal was scored. Like, I mean, you were thinking, these do look open. We've seen them concede a couple of goals in the Community Shield. There was a handball that was surprisingly waved off on the halfway line when Ekitike was looking to break. Did you guys think, what did you make of that? Was it a red card, handball? What are you saying?
If it's given against your team, I think you're wound up. Do you know what I mean? I think if it's given against your team, you're wound up. I think if it happens to the other team, you maybe want it. But I think opening day,
I felt like he outstretched his hand for it. Like he was, it's gotten away from us. I need to fucking grab a hold of this thing. You know what I mean?
That's what it looked like to me. Originally, when I looked at it, I thought, oh yeah. And then it was only when I watched it back, I thought, oh, okay, maybe they've got the decision right there. But again, it's one of them where, like, if it's against you, then you're always going to say, no, fucking hell. Like, and if it's for you, then.
But
what about
I think you're right, Brian.
Sorry?
I think you're right, Brian, about how open it was at the start. Like, I thought there was, like, throughout the game, I thought Liverpool a little bit vulnerable defensively.
And I know that they're missing Gravenberch, obviously, which is but even still, I don't see it like, I see the fullbacks are so far forward. Yeah. Like, we kind of thought, they'll get rid of Trent and they'll replace him with someone who proper tucks in. And that's not the way they're playing at all.
Kirkhead is not going to compliment Van Dijk, because the amount of times that people were getting in, Semenyo was getting in behind, Kirk is like, all the way up there, and Van Dijk's at a stage now where he will get done for pace quite often. So it's just like, yeah.
Well, I think Frimpong on the other side as well is way high up as well. Even that goal where these guys are 2-0 up, like enjoying cruising, and they're committed so high up the pitch. And let's have it right. Let's not forget, Semenyo was racially abused by a Liverpool fan in the stands, and that had something on the game. I think it almost gave Semenyo a bit more to prove himself, because those goals, you could see anger in those finishes. You could see, like, he wanted to send a message.
He was busting a gut, wasn't he? Like, he was a man on a mission. And I think overall, as shit as it is when anything like that happens in a stadium, I think the way all of the players, Liverpool and Bournemouth, the way they responded to that moment, and the way everyone sort of rallied around Semenyo, and the way he dealt with it in like fucking shoving it up them sort of thing.
Man.
In his own mind, obviously not grouping all Liverpool fans in with one idiot, but yeah, it was probably the best way you can respond to that in an entire game. I was really impressed with Semenyo and the way he beat both defenders for pace, coming from behind from an angle. That was amazing.
He's been a massively underrated player for years. Like, I know it's easy to say it now off the back of how I played the other day, but I used to say to Josh, go into the bridge. Whenever we would play them, I'd always say Semenyo. That's the one you got to look out for. Yeah. Semenyo's good.
I saw him on pre-season, right? And then he's like, he believes in himself on a different level. Cause I was like, mate, chill out today, yeah? He goes, nah, you watch out. Pre-season and in the league, I'm on you guys. Mate, I thought, what?
It's funny because we haven't even talked about the Liverpool goals yet, and we will do. But that second goal he scored where they counter-attack, and he basically runs with the ball at Anfield from the edge of his own box all the way. He's got Canate and Virgil van Dijk looking terrified, backpedaling. Neither of them, nobody puts a fucking challenge in for about fucking 120 meters or whatever it was. And then he buries it in the bottom corner. I thought you fucking arrived there. Like, that was amazing.
But he just signed a new 5-year deal, so it's crazy. They've got one there, so I can't see any team really grabbing him. But yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it would have been ezy to just say, I refuse to play. I'm never going to play again, and be a little bitch about it. But fair play.
Have you got anyone in mind?
Just because you know what, he is going to probably get signed at some point, but he's doing the right thing for the club that made him, and I think that you got to give credit where it's due. We got to give credit also to Liverpool, because as much as we are going to talk about what potential weaknesses they have, when they click, they are frightening. Ekitike got the scoring underway. A bit of I wouldn't say lucky, because I think Bournemouth was so bad defensively in this game that he just capitalised on their incompetence and just, ironically, a Darwin Núñez-esque goal, in my opinion, and just running at them and fucking throwing yourself in the right place, and buries it in the bottom corner. How excited are we about Ekitike?
He's my one to watch. I don't know about you lot, but he's the player that I'm like, and there was a few players yesterday that put themselves off the paper to say, hey, I'm here as well. But Ekitike, he goes for the cheeky nutmeg, doesn't get it, a bit of fortune, but the low bottom corner finish, we saw him do that again as well in his first game in the Community Shield. So one thing for sure, he's got an eye for goal, and he does it fast. He's quick thinking. He's a dangerous player. I want to know how it'll be if Isak is there with him, because how will he do it? What's the rotation?
I think it'd be amazing together. I hate to admit it, but I think that the football brains of both of these players together would be horrendous. It would be really bad. It would be terrible. It's like Thierry Henry gave birth to two kids. Like, do
you think that the board at Liverpool are looking at that? And they're looking at Ekitike in these two games pre-season as well, but the two proper games they've seen of him, and they're looking at him and thinking, we need Isak next to him? Or do you think they're looking at it now and going, we'd like Isak there if we can get him for the right price? Because this is why it's a shame, as a neutral, it's why it's such a shame, the way that it's gone with Isak, because if he had been sort of like professional about it, even if he had made it clear, look, I do want to move, but I'm not going to refuse to train, play, things like that, but I want to move. If he had done that, and then Liverpool didn't come in for him, then it's going to be so much easier to win back the Newcastle fans. Whereas now, if he comes back into that side, like, he'll probably score in the first game, but it might be 5, 6 goals, 7 goals before they start even cheering for him again.
I'll get on to what the fans were singing about him when we get to the Newcastle game, but it ain't good.
Yes.
What do we make of the other new signings for Liverpool? Obviously, Vert had a bit of criticism after the game. I think, for the amount of money they've spent on him, it's this immediate expectation that he's supposed to, have this unbelievable debut. It is kind of hard to live up to that. Jacob, what did you make of it?
I think he's an interesting player, Verts, because there's not many of them around anymore. We don't see 10s like that coming into the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Most teams are playing as a variation of a 4-3-3. It's 8s, it's up and down players. And they've changed their system to fit him in. They've moved to this 4-2-3-1 where he sits behind a striker. And this is the thing, if you're going to come into the Premier League on that kind of money, we want to see goals and assists. Do you know what I mean? It's not enough to look slick on the ball and and to just keep the attacks moving. I mean, KG, like your team's one of the few who've got a player like that. And as much as none of us like him, Bruno Fernandes is basically the last proper 10 in the Premier League. And whatever anyone says about how much he bitches and whines and his attitude on the pitch, he puts up goals and assists season in, season out. And that he's a British record transfer. Florian Wirtz.
It's good. I think it's lovely that the pressure's there. You don't get to get away with it. You cost a lot of money. And
German international. He could have gone to Bayern Munich, Real Madrid sniffing around. We're going to expect top things from him. And he's got everything around him to succeed, by the way. Whether it's Isak or Ekitike, he's going to have a forward in front of him who stretches games, creates space for him. But
they're dangerous.
I expected top things from Timo Werner when he came over and smashed it in the Bundesliga.
No, what you're saying, I don't think this is the level.
Florian Wirtz freefold in single seasons, but
that's nasty.
I don't think this is the level though. You can see that he's got the nice touches. Liverpool they're just getting going. I don't think there's nothing to worry about when you look at Florian Wirtz. You know, they're always going to be dangerous. And Salah, let's talk about that. He's not slowing down. He's not. You know, everyone was hoping last season was a bit of a blip because they were it was a dangerous era. And Salah just said, okay, guess what, guys? This is why I get paid the big bucks. This is why, you lot rely on me in these moments because I get you out of trouble. So they're a team they're not perfect. They can be good at, but they're just as deadly this season. Probably even more.
Even the finish.
But I think you have to say with Liverpool, this is the transition now. Really. And you have to give Slot credit. He won the league with Klopp's team last year. Yep. They did nothing last summer. Do you know what I mean? Now it's his team. Now it's a change of system. And it sounds crazy because they might end up spending £500 million this window. But you do have to give them time. You do have to give them a few weeks to settle into this new system, new way of playing. Wirtz is as much of a focal point as anything. I think even in Community Shield, you could see Frimpong and Salah kind of working out how they're going to work that wing out where Trent played it so differently. Like, it's scary because they're already scoring 4 goals on the opening day, but they could get a lot better very quickly, Liverpool.
The thing that would worry me is you can spend all the money you want. You're never going to get another Virgil van Dijk in his prime. That's just not happening. We look back through the years. If you look at when Man United lost, their key centre-backs in Vidic, Rio. If you look at Arsenal when they lost Tony Adams, for example, that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the final days of Virgil van Dijk. He isn't going to be as good this season. We can see that a mile away. And even if you do bring in a Guehi, who I think is a good defender, he's not going to be the leader, the player. So I do think that other teams, as much as I was impressed with Liverpool, and if they get Isak, it's probably a wrap. I definitely think when you look, the thing that we've always said about winning the league is good defences win the league, and Liverpool do not look like a good defence right this second. Yeah, so I think other teams should be encouraged by this and thinking, right, it ain't a fucking full-gone conclusion, this. We've got to fucking fight for this, because these could easily slip here.
Yeah, it'd be I feel like with Liverpool, and the stats don't always back this up, but on the eye, it looks like when they win the title, they score their way to the title. That's how it always looks. So statistically, that's not the way, because obviously their goals conceded have been really good in a lot of these years. But I do think defensively they look vulnerable. I think that you're going to probably not necessarily, it's going to be more so over time, not necessarily off the back of yesterday's game, but you're probably going to see that defensively Man City are quite vulnerable. I anticipate them being quite vulnerable too. So, and Chelsea have got their injuries, Arsenal. So yeah, I don't think that I'm looking at, off the back of what I'm seeing at the minute, I don't think I'm looking at anyone and thinking, right, it's,
It's theirs, yeah. And that's the thing I'm surprised by, because in the way that Newcastle have been disrespected, in that Liverpool, we should just gift wrap Alexander Isak and wish him well, even though we've not even had a bid to the value that he's worth, because the mighty Liverpool have come in, and the way Liverpool are being spoken about this season, they're a fantastic club. They've won plenty of amazing trophies in the Champions League, etc. But let's not kid ourselves. It's not like they've dominated the Premier League for the last 30 years. They've won one Premier League title more than Blackburn and Leicester City. They're not this juggernaut yet. They've got to become that now, and that's got to start with Arne Slot buying the right players right now. So I do think that, this idea that they're just going to walk the league is no one should be thinking.
It's not going to be easy, man.
And they've never been front runners, lads. Remember, they've always had to, chase down and keep pace. This is the first time that they've been like anointed as the Premier League favourites ever. So this is pressure now. Yeah. Different kind of pressure.
I just feel like, when you're talking about the captain and stuff and Mark Gay, he's really good, in terms of if you will talk about a leader stepping in, and then they do this great thing about how they do pass the baton. So they get the player in at the right time. Even when they rebuilt that midfield, it felt like it all happened at once. And now they're doing it with the strike force. If they do bring in Mark Gay to oversee what's going on right now, I know Kanate is not a sure thing. This could be probably the last, or he does take on the mantle, and then it's his back four, it's his defense. They managed that transition in the right way compared to us, where we lose a guy and then we're like, now? Can you be the captain now? And it's like, that's ridiculous. Like, there's no, it's coaching.
There's no way to deny Liverpool are having a fucking great transfer window. We'll move on to Newcastle. And now, a word from our sponsors. If you're looking to go away this summer, then this is a great way to save some cash. Wherever you're planning on going on your summer holidays, you're going to need internet access on the go. And there's only one company I trust for that when I'm abroad, and it's Saily. And right now, there's 15% off your first eSIM plan, so this is a great time to get in. What's great about Saily is it gives you a local SIM card you can use when you're traveling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a message or check your Instagram. And they've got plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they're going to be able to make sure that you're connected. All you got to do is click my link in the description, download the app. It's going to work on iOS or Android. Then you buy your plan and you can choose the amount of data and the time frame that suit you best. Then you just install the eSIM on your phone, and when you land at your destination, you can activate your plan instantly. And the great thing about Saily eSIMs is they only ever have to be installed once. So when you go on your next trip, you buy a plan for the new country, turn the eSIM back on, and boom, you're back in business. And the thing I love about Saily is I actually used it when I went to LA not long ago, and I had unlimited data, which is one of their options. And actually, the connection that I got from the eSIM was faster than the Wi-Fi in the hotel. And it just saves the hassle of hopping from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi when you leave the hotel and not being able to do anything when you're in between locations. And they've got 24/7 support, and they'll do you a refund if for whatever reason your eSIM isn't compatible. So get yourself onto Saily now. Click the link in the description below. Go to saily.com/kickoff and use the code KICKOFF, all block capitals, all one word, for 15% off your first purchase. It really sort of hit me yesterday when we were about to line up, like, this fucking prick isn't turning up, and we're, and I understand you don't care about the fans, right? Even though they literally worship you, and, you were on the fucking bus a couple of fucking weeks ago, celebrating as if you loved us all and telling the cameras whatnot, I love Newcastle, da-da-da-da-da. But, like, the Jota thing, you see the way Mo Salah is deeply affected by losing Jota. This is what teammates can really mean to each other. Do you know what I mean? And like, we've all worked in jobs before, and you have the camaraderie where it's like, you don't want to see your fucking mates struggling without you. And the fact that he's just told that whole bunch of lads who, remember, Dan Burn had to defend the ball in order to get the ball up to Isak. People like Anthony Gordon had to create the goals. Jacob Murphy had to give you the ball in the right place at the right time so that you could become the world's best striker, arguably. And to just say, nah, fuck you lot. You might have helped us, but fuck you. Go and fucking struggle away at Villa on your own, because I don't give a shit. That just did something to me in my mind, because I thought, you know what? That's how I know you're a piece of shit human being, you like. It's weird because I'm seeing like, Liverpool fans comparing this to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I get it's, they didn't like how he treated them, and I didn't rate him for the way he treated them, and I actually disagreed with views on that. But equally, we paid 63 million for this kid. He wasn't a kid from the academy we didn't pay anything for. We've had a massive contract. That kid ran down his contract. He didn't have a contract left. Legally, that he didn't do anything wrong. This guy is on strike. We're paying him, 140 apparently grand a week, and he's just not fucking turning up for work, lads. This is so much worse than what Trent Alexander-Arnold says.
I think some just football fans in general got very, very short memories, right? When they speak about, Newcastle's like entitlement on this, and keeping the player and not letting him go, and the way that the fans have reacted to it and whatever. Because I think, okay, well, let's look back and let's see if this is a trend of Newcastle fans as a club and whatever. Well, you've only got to look back to, you literally sold your number 9 10 years ago to Liverpool. And we're left with nothing in Andy Carroll, right?
We sold Gini Wijnaldum to Liverpool, who went on to win the Champions League. There was no problems with selling them.
There weren't problems.
Just give us the fucking money and get him the fuck out, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if we're not going to get the right money, we're going to have a problem here. And also, it's the way he's gone about it, as people have said over and over again. And I don't know. I think we're witnessing one of the most damaging behaviours from a footballer to his own club, who have done a lot for him, which is being weirdly discounted, like as if he was just, he scored 6 goals in 32 appearances the season before he came to Newcastle, as if we've done nothing for this kid, right? And he's great, but we have helped him. And I think that if it wasn't for the fact that Newcastle or the club that are the Nearly club as opposed to the Big Six club, I think we'd be getting a lot more backing across the Premier League right now. But I think a lot of people think it's funny to fuck with the fans. And
they want him at Liverpool. That's the Premier League want that. The Liverpool are the Premier League darlings, no matter what. They don't get the same level of, they don't get like, from the pundits, I'm saying. They
want to see the Galacticos.
They want to see that. So it's like, if Newcastle are the ones to suffer from it, they don't honestly care. It'll be...
I felt that later.
That's where it really is. But then if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd have some confidence, because while the game was a bit mad, but Gordon, Alanga, he brings something that is, he's just so quick.
He's like electric, isn't he?
If, let's say Isak was there, like if he does get fixed, you're going to be fine.
Even if we had Wissa playing in that game, we dominated Aston Villa away from home in a game where I was thinking, where is our mentality here? Fucking, the lads mentally must be quite low, because of the way Newcastle have been spoken about all summer, as if you're playing for a shit club, when weirdly we just qualified for Champions League, but that narrative's all just gone out the window. But even if we'd had Wissa or a decent striker,
I don't think Wissa,
we win that game.
No, I don't think Wissa.
Why? Mate, how many goals did he get last season, Wissa?
No, but then there's a different... we had
16 shots to 3, KG. We were absolutely dominant.
I watched the game. It was you lot played really good football, and what happens is, it kind of reminds me of us, where we can do some good build up, but we get in front of goal and we're pricks.
We had 3 wingers though. We still have to sign 2 strikers. Absolutely. If we're letting Isak go, or at least 1.
I actually rated the way that Eddie Howe set up with you yesterday. I thought that he made the best out of what he could do. And I think that there looked like, if there was time to develop that sort of front line, it looks like it could work, but the fact we're having a conversation's a fucking joke. Like, we look at football, and we don't, it's so far detached from our real life that we don't realise, it is real life, it is a job, and you're in breach of fucking contract, mate.
Yeah.
So, I hope they sue the bastard.
Yeah.
I hope they sue him for every last penny they can get out of him. One thing I did notice is Anthony Gordon and Big Dan Burn gave interviews. Yeah. And they both talked about the togetherness and about how, and I think Dan Burns' exact quote was, nobody did any of this on their own. And I thought to myself,
that's
yes,
wicked.
It's nice to hear that. It gives the fans something to feel like, because we don't know if they're all understanding of it or if they're feeling let down, but it just made me feel like you're not impressed with it. And it was Dan Burns' way of saying, there's no I in team, but there is a you and cunt. And that's exactly what we're saying from Alexander Isak.
And I would say, like, obviously sometimes it's different, but when you look at when a club sells their best player, like what Liverpool sold Coutinho for a world record transfer fee at the time, had never won a Premier League title. The season after they sell him, they go and win the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we sell, we bring in Eden Hazard after we win our Champions League. Yeah, a couple of Premier Leagues, but no Champions League. Then we sell Eden Hazard to Real Madrid. We go win the Champions League. Like, honestly, I know it like feels shit, and it's just the way that it's like gone. But I do think that what Eddie Howe has built isn't a one-man team. He's something that complements it so well. But I wouldn't put it past Eddie Howe getting. I don't think you can pluck something out of thin air to be able to have a player of the quality and the class, but I do think that you can get a player that can deliver you similar sort of numbers.
I think they can keep him. I honestly think they can keep Isak, you know. I think, as you're saying, that there's a good thing that you lot mentioned about the Ekitike thing. If you're Liverpool, why are you going to do what you're doing right now?
They're going to do it.
No, but it's not what it's actually, if Newcastle stay strong and they say, listen, we're not selling them for less than 140, 150. Yeah. They really have to ask themselves, should we do this? You've got Cody Gakpo, you've got Ekitike that can play, you've got Wirtz, you've got Salah.
They need extra numbers though, because they've only got one out-and-out striker. And I think the price issue is a real problem because obviously in the real world, in the modern era, we've seen Caicedo, Declan Rice go for over 100 million. Caicedo's end fee was like 150 and Wirtz gone for 160. And of course, a player in the top 3 strikers in the world in the prime of his career with all of his best years ahead of him, you're talking well above 115 million because of what he can do for a team. He can win you the title. At least minimum 135 to 140. That would be like, in my opinion, if you're basing it off of those kind of signings, you got to look at where the new market is. Jack Grealish 4 years ago went for 100 million. I mean, what we're talking about
but it's a mistake. And I think there's Liverpool people who are looking at this and saying, we're not sure. Carragher said himself, he said, if you spend 150 million quid, you want Mbappe. And this guy's not Mbappe. I'm sorry, he's not. Like, I love Isak. Don't get me wrong. I've been watching him playing for Newcastle and I'm dreaming about him with a number 14 on his back in a red shirt. I've been dreaming about that for years. Ultimately, I think, like, if you're Liverpool, you're looking at the way he's behaving right now. You're looking at the fact that you're already going to miss. He's not going to come in for Monday when they play you boys. And I mean, that is going to be a war.
Get your popcorn out.
That's going to be a war. You're going to want shin pads on both sides of your legs for that one, right? So you're going to miss he's going to miss the first 3 games anyway. He misses 6 to 8 games a season on average in the league. 150 million quid. He's 26 next year, and he's behaving like this. But sorry.
They've encouraged the behaviour. Let's not kid ourselves.
I know they've encouraged the behaviour.
Absolutely encouraged this.
If I'm Liverpool, I'm looking at this, I'm going, do I want that or do I want 2 £75 million players? Do I want 3 £50 million players?
I think that's not the way they're behaving, though. They're going for record signings. They're going for the big numbers.
They've done it so far. They've done it so far. But this is, this situation blows my mind because I don't know how this ends now. There's a world in which you get Visser in and then you sell him. But then you need another one. And then everyone knows you've got 150
We're not going to sell him without getting one in first. That's absolutely...
But you're going to need
exactly.
2, Brian.
And then what they'll do is they'll leave it until right at the end when you ain't got a chance to get anyone in.
But then, Joe, they can't sell.
They're not, though.
Because they'll need 2.
Newcastle have made it abundantly clear. This is not even up for debate. Like, this is so set in stone. We are only going to sell Isak if we get someone else in first. We're not selling him unless that happens.
But my point is, Brian, you need 2.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So Visser's getting done. Definitely getting done. That's happening. And then we need another one.
Right.
Otherwise, Isak's going nowhere.
Wait, ain't Worcester being a criminal, though? Ain't Worcester not training as well?
No, he's training now. Yeah, he's training.
He's training, but Keith Andrews leaving that. But
they've already found a replacement for him.
So I'm watching this. I'm going, you're going to need 2 in the door, and the clock's ticking. We've got 2 weeks left, and I'm starting to think this might not get done. But then if it doesn't get done, the way, as you say, the way Dan Burns speaking, I heard Eddie Howe yesterday saying, we all, me, the staff, the players, just want this resolved. Let's have it right. They sound fed up.
Resolved means we want him gone.
Yeah, that's what it means, Joe.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, Newcastle have got every right to say 140, 150, or you walk away. I just think his agent
He's played this terribly, hasn't he?
Mate, the fucking mess this guy has made. Liverpool aren't happy. Newcastle aren't happy. Isak's not happy. Why did he do this late July? But why did you not do this?
The agent's been the go-between, and he's fucked it because he hasn't had honest conversations with Liverpool about the pricing and clearly gotten everyone on the same page before they've pulled the trigger on it. And he's tried to bully Newcastle. And the problem is, we got 3 years on that contract, you fucking muppet. And Newcastle fans at the end of the game yesterday were saying, there's only one Grady bastard, one Grady. And also, Villa and Newcastle were singing about their PSR and the Premier League being corrupt as fuck and that.
You know what's crazy? He lost.
Hasn't got. I was looking at his clientele.
He's got any clients.
Yeah, no.
So he's Jerry Maguire. He's got one guy.
This is experienced either, and like you say, he might never get another payday.
This is it.
So he's
Do you know what though? Sorry, I just wanted to. Forget about it. It's all right.
Just to get back to Newcastle then, what I will say is I am worried looking at the end product from Gordon, Elanga and Barnes. Just generally, I know they're like, Gordon's playing out of position and he ran his socks off, so I can give him a break. But equally, his goals and assists seem to have dried up for a while now. And I think we just need him back to his best this season. But I think his best is always on the left wing. Yeah. Playing him up front is nonsense. And Osula, as much as he's raw, he really has to play up front. He's all if we haven't got a new striker in before the next game, that's what we're gonna have to do. Barnes, I really am worried about him as a footballer. Like it's unbelievable how much he struggles to do basic things on the ball. He's got a good shot, but everything else feels a real challenge. And then Elanga missing that one-on-one opportunity. I don't want to give them too much stick because he's only just come in. They haven't got a fucking striker in the middle of the park. But
yeah, that for me, Brian, I have to say that Elanga chance, just to give him a bit of credit, I thought on his first Premier League start, he suits your team down to the ground.
He does, yeah.
And I watched him take that shot and you go, fair enough, and you're taking that shot against decent. If that's Forest, that he takes that shot, it rebounds off the keeper and Wood puts it away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And none of us are sat here talking about that being a missed chance.
Yeah.
I just, so much of it yesterday, I just think it's a completely different conversation if there's a number 9 in that box. And Gordon,
I agree.
I rate Gordon, but his numbers aren't great at the left wing. Was it 6 goals last year?
Well, he last year he had a down year, and we were kind of hoping it was an off year, obviously there was a bit of injury problems. There was mental issue with it. He was about to sign for Liverpool. Didn't sign. But,
so is Liverpool.
You're going to kick that team.
Do you know what? Elanga did play a lovely pass where he got the red card and Concert overcommitted. So he picks up the ball, plays it between the two defenders. That was pretty impressive.
Honestly, all the wingers that have moved this summer, there's loads that have moved around that 50 million quid mark. I think Elanga might be the best one. And that's me having stuck 52 million quid in Joey's team's back pocket for Noni fucking Madueke. I look at Elanga, I think he's gone to the right club. He's like, style of football's there. He's the quickest player in the league. You stick a number 9 up there, mate.
That's where I'm telling you, just get Isak back and you'll be fine.
We'll see what happens.
Close the window and then it'll be fine.
We'll move on to Manchester City, who, after spending 300 plus million this year, lo and behold, they look a bit better. They beat Wolves convincingly. We got to give Reinders credit for an unbelievable Premier League debut. One of the things I get frustrated with when I watch Newcastle is like, we got good athletic players, but they're lacking in the confidence to run with the ball, to pass and move, to commit men, to open the game up. He does this so comfortably. And when we're talking about Premier League debuts, feeling the pressure, it was like he was playing in the park. I was unbelievable, lads.
I've changed my prediction. I thought Chelsea was going to win the league.
You can't know.
I have to change it. I've got to change it. So week one, I don't know if I'm using my wild card. Yeah. Right, I'm using my Premier League wild card.
Listen, a 4-0 win against Wolves, they look good, yeah, but a 4-0 win against Wolves have...
it was 4, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I think it was 4. Wolves have been depleted. Do you know what I mean?
That's not the point.
Well said, Charlie.
That's not the point. I think it's Haaland, it's Reinders, it is them lot there.
Their bench. It's so annoying. How can you bring Marmoush and Cherky off the bench? I had Marmoush in my fantasy team, you motherfucker.
Their squad's unbelievable, but Joey's right, by the way. And Wolves, I look at Wolves, they're in trouble, man. Yeah. They've lost Aït-Nouri, they've lost Cunha. That is one of them. I think it's a rare occasion where the teams who've come up might actually stay there, because teams like Wolves and Brentford have just been decimated.
PSR's working a trick, mate.
Yeah, well,
true.
I think you look. One thing I said this in our predictions thing. I genuinely think we underrate Haaland. I genuinely think
probably
this is the best goal scorer the league has ever seen, and there's a reason for that. It's because he's got the best team behind him. Yeah. They play so similar to us in the sense they just push and push and push. They want to force you right back. But this is the thing with Arsenal. I've watched us swing crosses in at fucking Lacazette's head, and you're wondering why we're doing it. They've got this 6'6" monster just hovering around that box. And then you look at Reinders, Bernardo, as you say, Cherki and Marmoush coming off the bench. I mean, Reinders, like, I think it's interesting watching Reinders. We've watched De Bruyne go out the door this season, and I guess you'd say Cherki's kind of his replacement. You know, maybe Marmoush plays a bit of 10. I think we've all really underestimated last season the fact that Gundogan just wasn't there, really. Mate, Gundogan's been a massive player for them, and Reinders gives me a lot of that. I didn't realise he got 16 goals in Italy last season.
He's ridiculous. He's a goal scoring.
He has that Spanish flavour look to him. The way he moves with the ball, he reminds me of those classic Spanish players.
His feet, it's unbelievable. And I think that's going to give them something through the middle of the pitch. Because I felt like last season with City, there was a lot of times you could watch them getting that horseshoe shape like we do. They shuttle it out to Doku. He fucks around. It goes out for a throw, and you wonder if they've got the quality. Now, with Rodri coming back, which is terrifying, by the way, and again, I don't think we talk about that enough, the fact that there was only really a conversation about Liverpool and Arsenal last year because Rodri was not on the pitch. But now they've got Reinders and Rodri middle of the pitch again. Bernardo's still there. Haaland, like, we've spent all summer talking Liverpool spending, Arsenal.
Mental.
Mate, it might just be, no. This is back to the default, back to what it was like for 5 years.
That's it.
City again.
And you know what it is? They had a thing, I would call it championship fatigue. This tired of winning. You know, they've won and it didn't feel the same.
It's hard to stay motivated, isn't it?
It's hard to stay motivated. Yeah. But obviously with the disrespect and with everything that they hear the fact of no one's predicting them to win. It's all Liverpool's league. And from goal one, the celebration, you usually look at City, they don't really care when they score goals. There's a bit of everyone coming together, but I feel like they want it. You saw Stones, you saw all of them like, let's go, let's see.
There's so many new players as well, which it can never be understated how much harder it is for, and not bringing it about Newcastle, but just any manager for an Eddie Howe, if you're playing with the same first 11 3 years in a row, for example, to keep motivating those same lads without new blood to inspire you, to feel like you've got, new and exciting players. You can see what an injection that's given that squad, and I do think they're way more dangerous.
I do still have concerns about their backline. Like, they haven't had, I never only one game in, but they haven't had their chin checked, so to speak, have they? Because when you come up against the team that actually can be a real threat, not one that quite a lot of people are tipping for relegation, and you've got a backline, I mean, Ait-Nouri looks class, but Ruben Diaz, John Stones, they're both getting on a little bit. And like you said, that thing about keep motivating players, I don't think those two specifically need the motivation, but they are both getting on a bit now. Rico Lewis, I'm not sure. Obviously, it looks like Trafford's going to be the number one now, so I don't know. I don't know, but I just look at the backline and I think, right, that could get him into trouble somewhere along the line. So I need a bit more information on these lot before I go, oh yeah, they're going to be, 100% all out. Because I think also, if you look at it from a goal scoring perspective, I don't think we've ever questioned that with Manchester City. Never questioned their goal scoring ability. So they've gone and put 4 past Wolves. We went and put 6 past Wolves last season. Like, I'm sure a couple of other teams have battered Wolves last season. I don't know. I want to see a bit more from City. I want to see their backline tested. And if that holds up in the bigger games, or against, even not in the bigger games, just against teams that can really pose a threat to you, then I'll start to be a bit more of a believer that City are going to be back this season.
Quick words on Spurs, lads. Obviously an expected win, but a lot of people are thinking that Thomas Frank is now looking like the real deal.
Scary.
Any thoughts on that?
I think goal of the weekend, Richarlison.
Amazing, man.
It's ridiculous. And Kudus is like, again, if I was an Arsenal supporter, but if I was, Jacob.
Imagine Spurs.
I would be Eze. Kudus.
Imagine Spurs get Eze, lads. Because what's really weird is from the start of the transfer window, our boy Jacob Pierre was very keen and convinced,
lyrical,
that it was going to happen, right? It was a story that was almost written in the stars. The young boyhood lad who misses out on his opportunity to make it through the academy, comes back home, and now he could be going to the arch rivals because for some reason Arsenal haven't prioritised this kid. And
it's not just haven't prioritised. We haven't. I've heard it through. We haven't bid. We've pulled out. They've been. I mean, and I've listen. People are going to call me a bitter Arsenal fan, but I've heard it all week that Eze prioritises a move to Arsenal and take away, your rival.
I believe you.
I've heard that.
They're a bigger club.
Yeah.
It's a big, like, of course he is, but we've categorically said we're not in, and apparently.
Is that not worse, Jacob, for you lot? Like, as in, like, at the end of the season, because you've obviously previously said the Madueke signing was a make or break for Arteta. It now becomes more make or break because everyone's going to now directly be watching every single week, right? What is Eze doing at Spurs and what is Madueke doing at Arsenal? Because here's what you could have won and here's what you've actually got. You know what I mean? And this was by choice. Let's not act like, because Spurs are looking at 60 million for him because of the release clause is now gone. It would have been a matter of 8 million extra, whatever, just to nail Eze. So let's not act like they couldn't have made that.
There was a release clause, though, that Arsenal was aware about. That's what I'm saying.
The release clause is gone now, so it's come down. It's now cheaper. So they could get him for 8 million more or whatever.
Look, my understanding is that we were looking at Eze about a month ago, and it's predominantly because we thought Nwaneri might leave. We thought he might go to Dortmund. That Dortmund link was real. And we were saying we need another 10. And it's always been reported we view him as a 10 more so than a winger. Look, if you're an Arsenal fan, we've got Ethan Nwaneri, who I love, 9 goals last season. I've said it before. It's only Rooney or Owen who've scored more at that age at 18, right? We've also got Max Dowman coming through, who I'm telling you now, that kid's a freak. And
are they ready now, though, Jacob?
No, they're not ready now. They're not ready now. But you can't have your cake and eat it. But you can't have your cake and eat it. If you want those kids to play football and develop, you can't put a 27-year-old in their way. And ultimately, here's what I say with Eze and Arsenal.
That's some bullshit.
No, you want to develop or win.
No. KG, listen.
I'm listening. I'm going to listen.
It's head and heart, right? My heart wants Eze because he's a beautiful footballer. The story that he was released by our academy, he was in tears as he went, moved around academies, finally built his way up. Now we need a now player.
Wins trophies.
I love it. The honest truth is we need a left winger. Eze is not a left winger. That is the honest truth. And if any Arsenal fan is honest with themselves, do you need Eze, a number 10 that you pushed out left just because he's got a nice story and it's an X Factor thing, right? It feels like fucking Simon Cowell will be talking about this.
Amazing. Or
do you need Rodrigo or Rafael Leao? Proper left wingers. The truth is you need a left winger.
You've got Madueke.
So let's really
Joey,
understand.
It's not Madueke. I don't get what your problem. I don't get what your problem is. You've got.
At no point can I just clarify, gentlemen. At no point did Jacob make an argument for why it was right to sign Madueke.
No,
that was just noise.
There was literally, and then he done this lovely spiel.
Yeah, this guy is so in love with Arsenal Football Club. You should be a politician, Jacob. You're amazing.
You know what's
that was amazing.
Timu Ornstein, I've got my links.
That was amazing.
It was brilliant, but then what we have to really understand is Madueke has gone in to play on the left-hand side. So while you do mention those lovely players and Rodrigo, Leao and stuff, they're not coming because it's not what Arsenal were. The fact that Arsenal are leaving Eze, and we can talk about development or not, I think, again, pressure diamonds, that's what they say, right? So these players will come through.
That's the saying.
Yeah,
you've nailed it.
Can I just say, yeah. I just want to say, I'm getting absolutely cooked here, but the only thing I'll say, we've tried to talk about Spurs, we've just ended up doing Arsenal for 10 minutes, and I'll never apologise.
I could not bring it up, right? Because it's really happening. It looks, I'll move on to a more painful topic for me then. Sunderland winning, on their first game of the season against West Ham. To be fair, you could say they looked all right.
They're not anyway.
And I think the main thing to come back to is, I think it was you, KG, who said Graham Potter first sacking.
Yes.
Immediately, that alarm bells must be going off at West Ham. I've seen the comments under their Twitters. Their fans are not happy.
Big Sam.
And look, is it all Graham Potter's fault? Probably not, right? This is a whole club issue, in my opinion, now. Yeah. But they should be really fucking worried that, and Sunderland have spent quite a lot of money, and it was like a whole. The fact is, it was kind of a new team that you were playing. So like this, we all talk about settling in, getting to know each other, it takes time. They played West Ham, who've been playing together for a lot longer, and just slap them up.
I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think it's necessary to be said, West Ham way, this stuff that they always talk about, yeah? We haven't seen it. David Moyes went in there and it was good for them. It's what they needed. And I think they got rid of David Moyes twice, right? And again, these guys, yes, I know they want to play a better brand of football, but maybe your team just can't do that. They just need to be a solid team. So they can't stick their noses up at the likes of Sean Dyche and these types of managers. They want to play a free-flowing, exciting football. Every time they brought in a manager to do that, it hasn't worked. They've gone for these kind of guys that says, let's play a beautiful game. No, guys, stay in the league and be dangerous and fight for the FA Cup, Carabao.
Yeah.
But they've got their eyes on other things and it's going to get them hurt. And now they're going to see.
They're doing the Man United thing. Like you say, they're bringing in a manager. The manager will buy a player. Like, obviously, this transfer window just gone. I don't think they've done as much, but everyone before the start of last season was going, keep an eye on West Ham, the business they've done. Everyone wanted Todibo. All the top 6 clubs wanted Todibo, and West Ham have got him. They've also gone out and got Kudus. They've also gone out and got Falkirk, who at the time we didn't realise stiff as an ironing board. Do you know what I mean? Like, we saw him scoring goals for Germany in the... Was it the Euros? It was the Euros, wasn't it? That he scored a couple of goals in the group stages. Yeah. So we saw him scoring for Germany, and there was 1 or 2 more signings in there. And at the time, you're looking at it and you're thinking, this is looking good, sort of thing. They just get off to a stinker and they're rubbish for the whole season. And then to then get in Graham Potter, who might have a different philosophy, it's like you're just looking at Bowen really to pull you out of trouble. I think there's a few teams, and I know it's going a little bit off topic, but I think there's a few teams like a West Ham, like a Brentford, like a Wolves. You just look at them and you think there should. Right, and not there should morally. I like to see new sides come up into the Premier League and whatever, but there should be this gulf because we've seen it the last couple of seasons. But this season, more so than ever, you could see 2 sides that have come up stay up. I reckon you could see 2 existing Premier League sides go down.
We're going to have to wrap it there, gentlemen, because there's a big day ahead of us, and we've got KG and Jacob's side going one-on-one.
Jesus.
We will get them back on to see how that went down. Can I just get this will probably come out later before the game. Predictions for the game, gentlemen.
KG?
2-1 Man United. Sesko scores, and a goal from Sesko and Bruno Fernandes. Bruno penalty.
I love how specific it is. Jacob?
4-1 Arsenal. Gyökeres scores.
Man United.
Nonny hat-trick.
Yeah. Imagine. It's been known to happen once.
No, I think we win. I think we win convincingly.
I love it. I hope so, because Man United fans have been really clapping at me.
What do you think, Ryan?
All right. Well, Joy, do you want to give a prediction? I'm interested in what you think.
I think 2-2. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I just feel like Man United have got a little bit of pep in their step, and they're going to need a bit more. It's going to take time for that confidence to erode if it is going to. I still think they're going to have a good season.
Do you know what's really weird? After watching all of Man United last season, I still rate Ruben Amorim. Like, I still think... That's the thing that I'm thinking. I'm looking at and I'm going,
he's got to prove it, though,
he could get it right this season. Do you know what I mean?
I pray he does.
Let's see what he's made of.
Come on, Ruben.
We'll wrap it there. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Hit the like button. Subscribe to The Kickoff. We'll see you on the next one.